there's an institution behind SHIMAGILE as well that has to be learned. So SHIMAGILE is a certain type of institution, and there's a whole teaching that accompanies SHIMAGILE for us to really understand more than just a word that means elder. There's a system, you understand, of the SHIMAGILE Woch, or the SHIMAGILE, that is SHIMAGILE, right? Yeah, arbitration, eldership, but it's based on the culture, or should I say the Ethiopic, Amharic, or Amharic civilization. It's based on a certain kind of civilization. It's like in the West, you have what's called like Victorian principles, and you hear about Anglo-Saxon, such and such, so forth, and British and all that, you know, and Roman, and you hear these kind of terminologies, but behind these terminologies they are teaching. You know, when you go to school and you're learning about Greek history and Roman history, you have to take several different classes, you know, what they call the classics. You got to learn so-called Greek history, the classics, so you read things like Homer's Iliad, you know, the Odyssey, and a lot of other so-called classical works, Socrates and Plato and so forth and so on, to learn more Pythagorean. When you go into mathematics, you learn that, and it all derives from what's packaged as classical European, classical Greek, classical Greco-Roman, and Latin history. You know, if you want to be a doctor, for example, if you want to be a doctor, you got to learn, or a lawyer for that matter, you got to, or you should, let's say you should, the better doctors and lawyers do, you understand, they learn Latin. You see, they learn Latin, it's part of the discipline. You see, it's called a discipline. You learn Latin. So when they talk about things like quid pro quo and habeas corpus and corpus delicti and all these kind of different terms, and different terms for the parts of the body even, are coded and encoded in Latin. That's the codex for it. So if you want to excel in those particular professions that deal with science or mathematics or law, you are encouraged, and in some colleges and universities you have to excel in Latin, and you have to excel in the classics. You have to know that, because that's what helps you understand the rudimentary mentality of so-called Western culture. They say that's a part of the roots of Western culture. So when we now touch on words like SHIMAGILE, you understand, or even words like Rastafari, we need to go to the source, you understand, especially the academic and the intellectual source of this, to even comprehend how is that similar, if it's similar to Western culture, and more importantly, how is it different? How does it differ from Western culture? So it's very good that this word SHIMAGILE, which means elder, is becoming in a sense popular among many Rastas and Rastafari, different groups of Rastafari, mansions and everything Rastafari. But more important is to learn the foundation, to learn the roots. You know, we always talk about roots and culture. So it's very important for us to go and to learn the roots of it. And His Imperial Majesty sums it up. He says that language, you understand, the language is that key to culture and communication between man and man. You understand? So language is very much that key. The Amharic and the Ethiopic language is that key, you understand, of culture, of our ancient Ethiopian culture, Ethiopian Hebrew, if I may say, culture, as well as being the key for communication between Ethiopians at home and Ethiopians abroad, between the Hebrew diaspora, you understand, spread about and scattered throughout the world. So language is very important, because it is shameful that many Rastas and Rastafari are still saying that Rastafari means head creator. But no doubt, most of them say this because they haven't taken the discipline of learning the Amharic language seriously. You understand? Because anyone who takes that discipline of learning the Amharic language seriously will recognize one important thing about this idea that Rastafari means head creator. they will learn one very important thing. And you know what that is? They will learn that it's half correct, which means it's half wrong. In other words, half of it is correct. Half of the fact or the assumption of fact that Rastafari means head creator is correct. And it's the Ras part. Ras does mean head. But TAFARI does not mean creator. The word Fetari means creator. TAFARI means the one to be reverenced, the one to be respected, and it's very much similar with the Hebraic word Tiferet, which you'll find in the Kabbalistic system. You'll say Tiferet. You'll say, but we'll touch on that first. Let's just deal with this basic right here, right now. The fact that Rastafari does not mean head creator. Rastafari means the head to be reverenced, the head to be respected, or self-respect